Oh, yes. My very, very first Scary Alvarez podcast, post Minnesota Gopher victory. And I don't want it to end. This is great. Good stuff. This will be a quick hitter today, but I do want to check in the next morning after the euphoria of the Axe game. A huge, uh, impressive, frankly, 28-14 win over PJ Fleck's Minnesota Gophers up in Minneapolis on a cold and somewhat snowy day. I'm Scary Alvarez, One Island Enjoyer, Sherry Wine Destroyer, Jake's Grandpa, and Cindy's +1 when she'll have me, and very thankful on this Thanksgiving weekend for a lot of things. First thing I want to start off with is in this quick hitter, why beating Minnesota matters. Besides the obvious, obviously, if that game would have been a loss, the message boards would have been uh, dispirited, full of a bunch of dipshits talking about how PJ Fleck should be fired, how Jim Leonard should have been let go, blah blah blah. Come see, come saw. But beyond the obvious, you had a 2-game losing streak to PJ Fleck, a man who, at the end of his 7th year, was 2 games under 500 in the Big Ten for his career. Had never won anything. Biggest win was an Outback Bowl victory over Auburn many years ago. Uh, he's given a lot of fluff by the national media for some reason. Never quite figured it out. I think it might be just his kind of his he's good for ratings or something, but because it's not based on anything he's accomplished. He had a very nice season in 2019, and also got blown out at home in the final game of the year by Wisconsin to not win the Big Ten West and be relegated to an also ran bowl game on January 1st. So anyway, what I think you have that situation coming in. You got a losing streak. You got the Axe, which has never resided, not never, but has not resided in Minneapolis for 2 years, let alone 3 years, for quite some time. And losing that game would have been a huge deal. So the corollary to losing that game being a huge deal is winning the game is a huge deal. And when I saw the joy, and you cannot fake this, the genuine unbridled joy on the faces of those Wisconsin Badgers when that game was over, when they ran over to get that axe and hacked down that goalpost. They left it up, but they hacked it down. You can't fake that. Hayden Rucci, the joy in his face, my Wisconsin Badger grandson, he is chopping down that goalpost. You know, for the first time in his career since his freshman season in 2020, Wisconsin won in overtime at home. Joy, Braylon Allen taking those hacks. I don't think there's nothing to read into. That was Braylon Allen's last regular season game for the Badgers, certainly, before he moves on to the NFL. Just seeing those kids so happy, it made my heart full. In a classic PJ Fleck move, they wanted to go chop down the other goalpost, but PJ Fleck and his wife and the players were locked arm in arm, kind of blocking that because, of course, it was all about them. It was all about PJ after the game. So the players respectfully didn't crash that line, although I'm not saying I'd blame them if they had. And they went and chopped down the other one, the same goalpost again. Let's go game balls. Besides the coaching staff, which I think had an incredible game plan, there could have been a lot of players who got this game ball, but Braylon Allen again, you cannot pretend that he is not incredibly banged up, and the performance that he had, a couple touchdowns, almost 170 yards, through a pretty solid run defense on the road in a game Wisconsin really had to have. Just outstanding stuff in his penultimate performance for the Badgers, assuming he does play in the bowl game. Wonderful, happy for the kid, just good stuff. And on defense, it sounds like a broken record. I mean, a lot of kids had big games, but Hunter Walter, the fact that he was in there and played when we weren't sure if he was going to play, and I don't know exactly what the severity of his injury was from the previous week, but it wouldn't have shocked me if he didn't play again uh, in that game. Coming out and just full speed, balls to the wall stuff. Super impressive. Not shocking, but super impressive. And that probably will be his last Axe game. And it was nice for him to go out on a good note in that series. Um, I think I need to talk a little bit. We're not going to belabor this with PJ Fleck talk. He's ridiculous. My Twitter account will do that. If you want me to belabor PJ Fleck, just look at my Twitter. But his future, uh, there were some whispers that he may be on thin ice up in Minneapolis, which is very thick ice for their coaches. Just look at the basketball team and Ben Johnson. Um, I don't look. I don't want to belabor this point, but I do want to belabor this point. This man took over a 9-4 Minnesota Gophers team with Tracy Claeys. Yes, there were some problems. Yes, it was not necessarily the needle was not pointing, super north on that program, but they were 9-4. 7 seasons ago, 7 seasons later, as I noted earlier, his best finish in the Big Ten West is the Outback Bowl. He's 3 games under 500 overall in Big Ten play. I don't know how you can look at that 7 years and give compliments to how this guy has done a great job with the Gopher program. He's been okay. PJ Fleck is an okay football coach. There's no question. He might be the world's most okay football coach. But as a contrast that I have pointed out in the past is things that can get PJ Fleck an extension in Minneapolis are the very same things that can get a coach like Paul Chris fired in Madison. And that is just speaks to the difference in expectation the Wisconsin football program has versus vis-a-vis the Minnesota football program. They're not in the same stratosphere. So the Minnesota fans can talk all about their 7 national titles that are 82 years, 6 of which are 82 years old or older. Wild stuff. But really, the fact is, it is an absolutely irrelevant college football program. The Minnesota Gophers, and this is not disrespect to the kids. They're kids. They play hard. I'm talking about the national prominence of the program, prominence of that program it's not going to be a gauntlet of a Big Ten. It is likely that the best days of that program in recent memory are well behind it, and that could be a 2-3 win team going forward, and that would be fine with me. Anyway, best to PJ Fleck. He's going to need it. And finally, but it's Thanksgiving weekend. Really quick things I'm thankful for: the coaches of the Wisconsin Badgers. And I'm not going to name all of them, but I'm going to name some names here that I feel like McIntosh and then his incredible AD that he took over from. Some of you may know. Really stocked the covers with some incredible coaches. Mike Hastings at hockey, number 6 ranking in the country, been off the charts this year. Mark Johnson, women's hockey. Greg Gard. Same with Joe about Gard, but he's got his team loaded this year, and it's going to, as I predicted earlier, it's going to be a great season. Kelly Sheffield with the volleyball team. Recently upset number 1 Nebraska and is likely going to have a top 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. Another fantastic season for them. Luke Fickell, for reasons we've talked about, this program is pointed upward despite a disappointing year. Chris Bono, Paula Wilkins with soccer. It's just a good take stock and be thankful and enjoy the high quality of coaching that the Wisconsin Badgers have. Anyway, I want you all to have a great Sunday. Got that axe. PJ's crying. It's a good feeling. And even the Packers showed out on Thanksgiving, it's been a good weekend for Wisconsin sports. So anyway, have a great last day before reality returns when you go back to work on Monday. And peace out from the dawn.